Hello everyone, how are you? In the previous video, we will cover topics about zeros of polynomial function and seen some examples in linear function and quadratic functions. For more explanation, we will see two examples in this video. The first one is g of x equals to x squared minus x minus 6. So find the zeros of this polynomial function. This is a quadratic function of degree 2. So which means we find the zeros of the polynomial function, which means when we insert that function, that value of x for the given function, it will be 0. Yes, the function will be 0. So g of x equals 0. This is our starting point. That g of x is x squared minus x minus 6. So x squared minus x minus 6 equal to 0. The different thing from here in the quadratic function is we find two values. We will find two values. Those are whose sum is -1, yes, and whose product is -6, which means this is negative x. So x has a one function, and this x squared, the leading function, also 1, and the constant number is -6. So -6 times the leading coefficient 1, it will give us -6, and the x value, which is the degree 1 x value, as the coefficient is 1, so the sum -1, so the sum must be -1, and the product must be -6. So there are two numbers which give those two values. Those are -3 and 2, because when we add them, it will they give -1, and when we multiplied both numbers, they will give us -6. So in place of -x, we will replace -3 x plus 2x in place of x, because it is the same. -3 x plus 2x is -x, so there is no difference. So collecting like terms from this x, we will pull out x and x minus 3, plus from this value is 2, because x minus 3, 2 times x is 2x, minus 2 times 3 is 6, equals 0. So we have x minus 3 in this value. So we will pull out this value. So it will be x plus 2 times x minus 3 equals to 0. From those two values, if one of them will be 0, or the function will be 0, because as you have seen in the first video, every number multiplied by 0, they will give 0. So x plus 2 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. From this, x equals to -2, or x equals to 3. Therefore, -2 and 3 are the zeros of g of x. Those two values are the zeros of g of x, which means when we insert -2 in place of x, the function will be 0, and when we insert 3 in place of x, the function will be 0. Those are the only two values which will give us this function 0. An example is h of x equals to 4x squared minus 7x plus 3. This is also the same. It's only the coefficient. It's it has, yes, a coefficient, a leading coefficient 4 and -7. So we follow up the same procedures as we used in the previous example. So h of x equals 0. H of x is for x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals to 0. So find two numbers whose sum is -7 and whose product is 12, because 12 means multiplied the leading coefficient of the higher degree times the constant. The constant is 3, and the leading coefficient of the highest degree, which is equals to 4. So 4 times 3 is 12. Those are -4 and -3. Those two numbers give us -7 as the sum, and whose product is 12. So insert them in place of -7. They will be 4x squared minus 4x minus 3x plus 3 equals 0. Collecting like terms, this is 4x will be like terms for them. So the common term in 4x squared minus 4x, so it will be x minus 1, because 4x times x, 4x squared, and 4x minus 1 will give us 4x. And from -3x plus 3, we have 3 in common. So -3 into x minus 1 equals 0. So we have x minus 1 for common for two values. So for x minus 3 times x minus 1 equals 0. Yes, for x squared minus 3 times x minus 1, because x minus 1 is common for them. So we will take each values from the common terms and multiply by it. So equals 0. It is the same with the previous. For x minus 3 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. From those, one of them will give us this the zero of the function. So x equals 3 over 4, or x equals 1. So those two values, which are 3 over 4 and 1, are the zeros of h of x. So when we insert those two values in place of x for the given quadratic function, which is 4x squared minus 7x plus 3, the function will be 0. So those two numbers are the zeros of the function. So we have seen this in the previous video. Then now this video will give, I hope this video give you the best examples to understand it easily. So this is all about the zeros of polynomial functions. Have a nice time. Don't forget to subscribe.